So today on the Digg podcast, we have Diarmuid McSweeney. I'm so excited to have him here today. He is the co-founder and chief marketing and community officer at Gym+Coffee. And it's such an amazing story. He's going to tell us all about it. But my research on him and my research on the brand, I'm going to tell you about first, and then he can jump in afterwards. But Diarmuid and his friends, Niall and Carl, they had the idea for Gym+Coffee after living and working in Australia and America. And when I was reading all about their brand, I loved how they described why and all about the socializing and how it didn't all revolve around the pub was the words that I read, and that how it was very much about grabbing a coffee after the gym and socializing with their friends and family. And I loved that, kind of concept. And I could see then how that ethos is kind of rolled out across the brand, which is amazing. So it was a lovely idea at the time. It was just an idea, but then when the three lads got together, it grew and became more, and obviously developed into a business. And it's now a highly recognized brand across the world, really, because it's sold all over the world. They have 9 physical stores, and Jeremy can keep me right about that because they're adding ones all the time, but across England and the south of Ireland. And we are so excited here because they've just launched and opened a new store in the amazing Victoria Square. So I'm hoping to get there now when I'm down filming this podcast in Belfast. I'm hoping to visit the amazing store, but I've seen lots of coverage of it on social. And Gym+Coffee describes itself as Ireland's leading lifestyle and ath-leisure brand and community. So I love the way the community is part of that, and it definitely is if you follow them on social. Even more exciting, Niall Horan and Brian O'Driscoll have recently invested in the brand. And I just can't wait to find out from Diarmuid how the hell that happens. Like, how does Niall Horan invest in your brand and Brian O'Driscoll? And yeah, I just know you're all going to learn so much from him, as am I, because this is my first time meeting him. This is an exciting new digital world we live in. And I want this podcast to help inspire you on your entrepreneurial journey. It's not easy juggling all the balls in the world of work, and I know that more than anyone. But I invite you to join thousands of our other listeners as we talk about all things money, marketing, hard times and successes. So get ready to be challenged and inspired. This is the Digg podcast. So thank you for joining us, Diarmuid. Welcome here to the Digg podcast.
Thanks, Caroline. I really appreciate you inviting me on. It's exciting to be here.
Oh, that's brilliant. It's brilliant. And I know I've given an introduction there, but that's just in my words and what I've taken from the research that I've done. So can you tell me, kind of confirm that or pull me up if I'm wrong, and tell me kind of how it all started and how you've kind of got to where you are today?
Sure, yeah. To be honest, I think you probably did a better introduction than I will. I might rob that little soundbite. Yeah, I mean, it was great. It was 2016, I think, when we started first talking about what became Gym+Coffee. But as you mentioned, all of the thinking and the ideas came from, I suppose, genuine personal experiences that we had living abroad, and then bringing those ideas and inspiration back home, and not really willing to leave go of the lifestyles that we enjoyed, in those places. I guess, many people have lived, in different cities and countries around the world, then come back home, and, you can be that annoying person when you come back home banging on about the place that you lived in. For me, it was Melbourne, and I just fell in love with the place. It's amazing city. Australia is an amazing country. Aussies are very similar to Irish people in many ways, but the way they're quite different is that they have a fantastic balance of socializing, socializing around alcohol and stuff like that, but then also getting up the next day and socializing around exercise. So my lifestyle completely changed when I moved to Australia. I had 20 years playing team sport, and then you go to Australia and it's much more about your own health and fitness journey. So yeah, we brought all these kind of observations, let's say, and thoughts home. And Carl had lived in Australia for a small bit. Niall had been spending a huge amount of time in California and Vancouver with work, and he basically noticed the same kind of trends there. So when I got back to Dublin, it was finally a post-recession Dublin, but I could see the same things happening there. When I left Dublin, you know, it would have been fairly scandalous for two guys to meet for a coffee. You know, it would have been an unusual thing to do. Usually you'd meet for a pint, whereas you could see a lot of people running to work, people going to yoga before work. So you could see it all starting here, I suppose, what, you know, health and wellness trends globally. And then also you could see people's clothing, I suppose, you know, change in different settings as well. Now, we've absolutely no experience in the clothing industry. Zero experience. So we kind of first were talking about the trends, you know, and about what we were observing and as people, you know, and what we liked. And I suppose it came from that point of passion and what we were trying to do and how we knew it would lead to a positive lifestyle for people. So it was only when we started digging deep into what was happening, and it's quite interesting actually, like the clothing industry has been pretty much flatlining for 25 years, but within it, in a category called ath-leisure, which is only about 7 or 8 years old, it was growing about 40% year on year. So, you know, there was a little boom happening there basically. And doing research, we identified that, but we didn't know that. We didn't have experience of that, you know. So it was just basically doing anything then to be part of that cultural change, and then also trying to be smart and being part of the category. But I mean, I would be lying if I was saying it was organized or well thought through at the start or anything like that. You know, we spent 15 months working on it part-time, you know, just kind of getting it off the ground, you know, setting up an Instagram page, getting a product, website, trying to make it a business or make it a thing. But yeah, it was basically patched together at the start, making it up as we were going along, which was fun. It was great fun. But I think it all comes from a point of personal passion, and I think, you know, we're kind of into this, if you know what I mean. So it's a lot easier than, you know, we would have had ideas in the past for businesses. They just never got off the ground, you know, just because I suppose your heart maybe wasn't in it without you knowing, you know.
Mm-hmm. And so you're saying that, but then we're sitting here today, and am I right? Is it 9 stores you have?
Yeah.
So great inspiration for small business owners that are thinking, God, I just have an idea, and, you know, maybe it could be like this someday. But now there's been a lot of hard work from that little idea to where you are now. But the growth has been massive, and in such a short space of time, really, because, you know, when you think of retail growth and all, you know, it can take years and years and years to develop that huge brand. So I applaud you. I think it's unreal. I love watching it. I can see it grow. I see the brand identity. I love it. So the online presence is also massive, isn't that right, Diarmuid? So talk to me about that. Like, how I know from my experience, it's so hard sometimes to manage bricks and mortar and online, because they're two different animals, really. But tell me how that works. Like, how are you getting that to work so well as it is at the minute?
Yeah, so we started out as an online only business, and it wasn't until 18, 19 months in that we opened our first pop-up store for 2 weeks. We had 12 days notice before we opened the first pop-up store. So we had no experience in running a pop-up store either. But you kind of have to jump at these opportunities, I think, when they come your way. So that was in Dundrum Town Centre in Dublin, which is, you know, obviously a fairly well-known, you know, location, and it was going to do a lot for the brand profile-wise, you know, outside of, you know, retail sales or anything like that. So it was a good opportunity from a brand story point of view, basically, which is why we kind of jumped at it. But that's
kind of, sorry for interrupting, that's kind of like the other way around than what most people have a bricks and, like, in years gone by, you had a bricks and mortar, and then everybody's trying to kind of embrace the online space. So you were kind of doing it the other way around very early, like pre-COVID.
So we're a direct to consumer business model. People say omni-channel, they say, I don't know, integrated, whatever you want to call it. But direct consumer brands are booming around the world. So anyone who's kind of simplified your supply chains, simplified your model, they don't interact with wholesalers. We don't have any presences, we don't have any concessions in other retailers. All those brands are literally exploding around the world. So we kind of identified that from early on, and the whole business is built on Shopify. And basically the benefit of that is that we know exactly what's going on in the business all day, every day in real time, because all of the information is coming through our platforms. I'm not waiting for a wholesaler or a retailer to tell me 3 months after the fact what happened with my consumer. And that's what it kind of comes back to, is like our biggest passion is the community of people we interact with. If I'm waiting for someone else for the information about my community, I'm kind of already behind on interacting with them, So when it comes to retail, it's the exact same thing. So there are a number of brands that are, similar to us in our category, and then direct consumer is a much bigger thing, but it's all coming from the States. But the retail that's under pressure at the moment is the retail that's, kind of a previous generation that's kind of hanging on. Whereas what we're trying to do is build that omni-channel experience. So customers absolutely love it. If you buy online, you can return in store. If you buy in store, you can return online. And really, it's just because consumers don't care about your internal problems around your infrastructure. They just want the most seamless experience. And I think brands nowadays just have to provide that. But retailing.
So you do, like, just jumping in, I have never really thought about it like that, but I when you get that returns form and it's so hard, like, oh, you have to do it. You're so right. Like, you're like, oh, I can't be bothered ordering off these things again. So I didn't realize that was your kind of model where, send it back to us, come back to our store. Like, that's so unreal to have that.
Yeah, because if you need to return something, it's probably because, you ordered incorrectly size-wise, or we've given you a problem that you have to solve, which is a bit annoying if you're the customer. But if you can return in store, you're not just dropping it to a parcel drop-off, you're dropping it to a store where one of our team will meet you, and then they'll chat to you about whatever the issue was. So they'll either solve the thing that really annoyed you about, or they'll give you advice on sizing. And actually, if you love the product, but you just had an issue with the size, you'll probably go into the fitting room and you'll probably, hopefully you'll probably get the right size, and
maybe buy some more.
Yeah, exactly. So, you're just trying to have that experience with the brand. And I think that's what people are looking for. And certainly, like, we call all of our retail locations our clubhouses, and we do that for a very specific reason, in that, like, we want it to be more than just a retail experience. We want you to go in a pre-COVID world, you would have gone in, you would have been offered a free coffee, sit down, have a chat with the team. The team are incentivized, to tell the story, have the chat, and it's not just about, are you okay for sizes? That's not really what people are looking for anymore. And we've held about, I think maybe 60 or 70 free events in our clubhouses over the last few years, pre-COVID. Anything from yoga classes to HIIT sessions to dog coffee mornings, which is a bit crazy. Podcast recordings. We had an event for International Women's Day a couple of years ago, and all of these things just make it more of an experience for people. And it's you're coming in, you're meeting the brand. You're not just walking in to get a black hoodie. It's more than that. And I think that's what people are looking for.
Yeah, so like I speak to a lot of business owners, and I suppose you're very forward thinking and have been from the start, but a lot of them are scared of the new expectations, the new online space. But when people are listening to you, I hope they realize this is what people expect now. They expect the experience. They want to feel they're part of your community, and that, I get why that scares people, because some people just get into retail because they want to sell clothes and make money. But unfortunately, it's not like that anymore. And you have to create that magic to make your brand grow. I believe that, and you believe that, and that's why you are the way you are. But so it's amazing to hear that, and all those events happening, and like that's on run, and it will get you sales eventually. But at the start, it's about growing your community. So I love it so much. I love listening to this. So influencer marketing, obviously, like I've seen your profiles. Gym+Coffee, I see it everywhere, probably because I'm following the hashtag, I'm following people who you're working with. But I can see influencer marketing is a big strategy for you. Am I right in saying that? And what way did that work for you guys?
Yeah, we didn't really use influencer marketing very much at the start. Well, we didn't really use much at the start. We didn't have any budget or resources to do anything, to be honest. But we didn't really use it for the first couple of years very much. We were trying to just build the audience and have our community be the ones to post about us. And we do something called Pick of the Week every Monday. I don't think we've missed a Monday in 4.5 years, but it's we share about 12 or 14 pictures of our community on our story, and we pick one that is the picture of the week basically, and it's a person that's tagged us or sent us a photo over the previous couple of weeks, and it's usually people hiking or running or something. So we've really focused on that. Now, in the last couple of years, around some of the bigger clubhouse launches, we've used influencers, and we've used them to launch some collections as well, just to support. I mean, to be honest with you, like the reach that some influencers get is incredible, and the passion that their followers have for what they say or what they advise it's unbelievable, And I suppose with all the smart stuff basically that our digital marketing team can do now, you can really track, the effectiveness of those posts and people sharing our stories and all that kind of stuff. And I get some people still have kind of some hang-ups about influencer marketing, but I mean, that's up to you as a brand or a business owner to navigate that yourself, like only work with people who you believe are genuine, like only work with people who you've done your homework on or you've been following for a few months. So, you'll see the consistency of messaging, or you'll see what they value, what their audience is into. So like, don't try and connect with people basically that clash with your business or your brand, because, well, your customers won't like that and their followers won't like it, So it's just about working with people that you think are go hand in hand with the space that you're in. But when you compare what influencers can reach versus what some of the more traditional media can reach, and the price tags around, some of the proposals that we would be sent for those media platforms, it's a no-brainer. Like,
Diarmuid, like I'm always saying to businesses, like, let's look at influencer marketing, but still some people say to me, well, they're very dear, and they'll tell me the price, and I'm like, are you serious? There's like 30,000 people watching them every single day. If you were going to pay for a newspaper or a magazine, not to diss that, there's a place for that too, but I mean, this is huge. Like this, I try and convince them. I'm like, no, do not be silly. This is actually unbelievable. And like you say, their audience love them and trust them. And this is gold for you to actually invest in them working for your business. So, but I can see that your people are not just throwaway people that come and go. They're people who are, like you said, you've done the research. They love your brand. They're passionate about it. I follow your girl, Caroline, from a county down under in Australia. And like I see her wear your stuff, and she's very about mindset and positivity and exercise, and it fits so well. You guys have done it so well. So I would be giving businesses your example. I'm like, go look how Gym+Coffee do it. They're embracing all the people that love their brand. That is magic. So no, I get what you're doing. I can see that it's great, and I just wish but I think they are getting in the zone now. But I wish other businesses, didn't look so negatively sometimes on influencers, like, and roll their eyes, like, oh my God, these people are unbelievable.
Yeah, the key thing for me is you can track it. So, if you do have some hesitancy, hopefully you'll be willing to give it a go. Just give it a go once, track it. If you're not convinced after that, fair enough. But at least you can track it against other things where, you could pretend like you could track it, or you could put finger in the air, and have a sense of what happened. But with most things like digital, you can You can't track exactly what happened that hour or that day or that afternoon that they posted, you know, unless you got something else major going on. If there's been a big bump in traffic or revenue or something, that's going to be down to that piece of activity. So,
or even something simple. Sorry, I just hit my microphone. Even something simple, like I would say smaller businesses, like give them a discount code or whatever, and then see how many people bought from that. Like that's a simple way of saying that was really successful. So there are ways, like you say, of seeing is it worth your while. And I would say in most cases it is. So yes, I love seeing all the influencer stuff that you do. So I follow on Instagram for people who don't know how to do this, if you go into tags and go to Gym+Coffee and follow that hashtag, you'll see all the people that are using that hashtag flat out in their stories, and you'll get to see how many influencers are actually probably not even part of getting paid or anything. They're probably just loving the brand and tagging you and stuff. So that's brilliant to have achieved that. So that leads on really, really well to community. So you're all about community, all about bringing your people in as part of the brand, and it's so evident. But I suppose that's kind of probably how other big people recognize you. But let's talk about what everybody wants to talk about. And you're probably saying, why do you not just want to talk to me? Yes, I do. But I want to hear Niall Horan. And now I get confused because your business partner is Niall Horan, isn't that right?
Yeah, it's very confusing. Very confusing.
How confusing, because I kept reading other people's stuff and I was like, they're getting confused saying he's his partner. But right, so Niall Horan is also a founder with Diarmuid, but Niall Horan, who is One Direction, invested in Gym+Coffee. Please tell us what the hell happened.
Yeah, the One Direction fans get freaked out when they heard Niall Horan met Niall Horan. So it was a really, really amazing thing that happened. To be honest, he was aware of the brand. I think was from friends and family at home, which is always, that's half the battle. If you're kind of being talked about without you even being in the room, that's great. And obviously they had shared quite positive feedback about, product and everything like that. And it was just an advisor that we have to the business, someone who's been helping us out for a while, managed, to get an introduction. I think lockdown has made a lot of people more available probably than they usually would. So I'm sure in a normal year, he would have been touring or, heavily writing in the studio or on a TV show somewhere or, something like that. But he wasn't. He was, stuck in his apartment. So getting time in the diary, getting on calls and, presenting the brand and telling him what we were thinking of doing over the next few years was easier probably than it would have been, in the past. And maybe he was a bit homesick as well, that he couldn't travel home for the last year and a half or whatever as well. So no, it was brilliant. It was so cool to just be able to chat to him and explain what we were trying to do, and for him just to feed back instantly how he got it, straight away. He got the brand. He obviously spent a lot of time in LA and Australia, I think, and he understood exactly what we were aiming to do, and the fact that we were trying to, be a global Irish brand, but not be, waving the tricolour, I guess. And we kind of were just saying to him, like, a lot of the success he has had over the last 10 years is he's represented Ireland so well overseas, but, he's just represented it with kind of modern values. Everyone has good things to say about him. Talented guy. And we're just like, if we could have half the success, basically, it would be amazing. So yeah, his amazing to get like the support of someone like that, and also for him not just to become an investor, but like to publicize the investment, I guess. And to give us his time, and we went to the store in London and shot that, with him, and that was cool because it's just a big impact. You can't really underestimate or understate that. So yeah, just an amazing kind of another crazy thing that happened during lockdown.
So is that a lesson to people to never think that you can't achieve? Like, you've reached out to him, you put yourself forward, I suppose people listening, never think that it's always going to be a no. Always push yourself out there. Is that what you would say to people, or?
100%, yeah. It's and if you reach out and you don't hear back, it's not necessarily that people don't like. It's just like, the amount of messages we all get nowadays.
Yeah.
Things can get lost, and I know my own LinkedIn messages are just like things you can't keep up. So it's more about just reaching out and hopefully catching someone at the right time. And I suppose if it's meant to be, then it'll happen then. But yeah,
Absolutely.
it's definitely. Yeah, it's definitely just like you don't know what people are interested in. Like, you're only seeing obviously, what people are up to kind of on the face of it. But like, yeah, you might as well reach out if you can get these contacts. Sure, the worst they could say is no.
Oh my God, I love it. Like, that's unreal. And hopefully people listening are like, do you know what, that thing I was going to do, I'm going to flip and do it, because he got Niall Horan to take notice.
Yeah.
So you have to bring him to Belfast as well whenever you're bringing him up to Gym+Coffee.
He was there a couple of weeks ago actually for
the opening?
he was in where was it? The Galgorm. So he was there.
Galgorm, yes.
He was there for a golf event that him and his business partner were organising. So it was, yeah.
Seems like a good guy. No, it's definitely a brilliant fit, and he looks good in all the clothes. Perfect for you guys. So congratulations.
The Digg podcast is all about educating my listeners, but it's so important to me that it is also a place to gain exposure. Each week we open up the podcast to brands and business owners to pitch to you guys. I can't wait for you to hear from this week's business.
Hi, my name is Susan from DA Forgy. DA Forgy is a family business retailing agricultural, construction and ground care equipment. The business was started over 40 years ago by my parents David and Honor. Both my sister and I are proud to work in the business. DA Forgy is a Northern Ireland and Ireland-wide dealer of many well-recognised brands including Honda, Kubota, Kverneland and Merlo. We sell everything from robotic lawnmowers to diggers and tractors, and keep a huge range of tools, toys, merchandise and spare parts in our stores and showroom. We are based over 2 depots on the Seacoast Road in Limavady and the Blurris Industrial Estate in Lisburn. We also have a team of trained technicians to service and repair machines. Customer service is the key focus of our business, and we pride ourselves in offering a high level of customer care. You can find us online via our website, forgy.com, where we have an online shop. You can also find us on social media, on Facebook at DA Forgy and Instagram at DA Forgy Machinery. We look forward to hearing from you, and thank you for listening.
And then also Brian O'Driscoll, who everybody in Ireland knows as well, is a great ambassador as well. And he invested too. So was that like, have you connections with him, or is that he just noticed you guys, or what way did that work?
This was about, I think it was the end of 2018. So we were really, really young. I think the business wasn't even 2 years old yet. And I can't remember how, I don't know, but he had the product. And he tagged us on Instagram a few times, and we were just like, what? But he really liked the product.
Did you do what like everybody else does? Oh my God, look who just tagged us.
Oh yeah, that still happens every day. It's like a daily freak out moment. But he similar with Niall. It's like he just loved the product. So I guess like you can't get past, like, you're not going to get to the next conversation if you don't have a great product, so everybody has to have a genuine connection to these things. If the product is poor, then you're not going to be able to chat to these people. But Brian loved the product, and then we reached out to him and was just like, basically, can we have coffee? And yeah, he was fundamental to our success. And it's just been a great couple of years working with him. He came on board in, May 2019 as our head of community. So again, we knew from our own community that, brand ambassador and all these things, that language is used so often that we didn't want to just say Brian O'Driscoll was a brand ambassador and just kind of, the standard kind of PR approach. So we made him our head of community, and we're delighted that he kind of accepted that alongside coming on board as an investor. But what that meant was basically that he advised us in the background with some community initiatives that we're doing, some partnerships that we had, but also he led personally, in person, a lot of the events that we had. And he's come to our birthday party when we've hiked the Sugarloaf Mountain in County Wicklow. He's come to different events in different parks. He's interviewed lots of different people from our community, which has been amazing. And I think it was July 2019. So we do every summer we do an event series around the country in different parks. But he finished it off with a HIIT class and a podcast recording with Carl Henry, and there was 700 people in Herbert Park that day in Dublin. So that feels all very strange now because it was all pre-COVID. So it seems like a decade ago. But yeah, it's just great to have people like that, advising us, but also just showing their support for the brand, which makes a huge difference.
Unreal. And I know that people listen to this podcast anyway to get inspiration for their own business and to learn things, but what would you say to business owners who are struggling with the mindset of growth? I've been there too in the past, where I'm afraid to invest. I'm afraid to take that step. I'm afraid of everything. As a business owner, I was always afraid. And, what would you say to people now who are in that, but, have you any words of wisdom for them? Because I know there's probably so many people now who have to embrace lots of changes and steps.
Well, to be honest, I think I don't really understand that mindset, because I think you've done the hard part. The hardest part is starting and setting up the business. So maybe there must be something else behind that fear then of growth, or because it's definitely not the challenge. The challenge is getting the ball rolling, getting it off the ground. But for us, the growth that we're experiencing at the moment is incredibly exciting. Yes, it's a bit more work. It's probably a bit more stressful, but it's very, very exciting. And I think, anyone who's started a business or has gone to that length to get something off the ground, they have the drive and the motivation to make something big or bigger than it currently is. So yeah, I would just be reminding them that they've done it already. They've done the major obstacle. And I really mean that. The major obstacle is starting something by far. There's nothing harder than that point. So the rest is about growth and about big ambitions and dreams and all that kind of stuff, and getting the right people.
Have there been any times when you're like, I'm sure there has, oh, we shouldn't have done that, or that didn't work, and it was definitely, it was bad? Has there been times like that? Yeah,
loads of times. The business is only 4 years old, and we've managed to fit in a once in a century pandemic and Brexit and all the usual growing pains of a startup. We fitted it all in. There's been supply chain issues well before COVID, then the worst supply chain issues you could imagine during COVID, and just all the usual challenges. But I suppose for those things, we've always just put our hand up to our customers, our community, and just said, we messed this up. In one instance, it was our fault. And then you could say in another instance, look, it wasn't our fault, but we are taking it, on the chin, and we're going to make up for it. And, we'll take the blame for it, basically, even though it's nothing we could do. But yeah, I think for those kind of things, communication is key. It's just over communicating with your customers and your community and just telling them what's going on. The vast majority of people are incredibly understanding whenever businesses are going through challenges, particularly over the last year and a half. But yeah, there's never not going to be really, really difficult challenges. You know what I mean? We're always waiting for it to kind of land and just be a bit smoother. But I think as soon as you get your head around the fact that that's completely unachievable and there will always be bumps in the road, then you kind of just, I suppose, get on with it, really.
I'm so excited to be able to finally launch the Digg Social Academy. It's something that I've been working on for so long, so the excitement is real. It'll be my first online course, and one that I just can't wait to deliver. It's a social media bootcamp, and is suitable for anybody wanting to learn techniques on how to navigate through Facebook and Instagram. I know that's not easy sometimes. So as well as learning to navigate through those platforms, we'll also learn how to create content that gets you noticed online. So if you would like to be part of the Social Media Academy, then follow my Instagram, Digg for Success, send me a message and I'll send you a direct link to the course. It's going to be amazing.
And like, what's the next big thing? Like, I don't know, I can't even imagine what you guys are going to do next, but I suppose you're waiting for all, like, once restriction lifts, I can only imagine what kind of events you're going to hold. But what are the plans kind of in the next while? Can you tell us anything? Or
yeah, well, that is the main thing really, is, we're a really community driven, community focused brand, and as good as the digital experiences have been, they don't really replace, they're no substitute for real life events in our clubhouses or some of the bigger experiences that we would have had going on. So we are really looking forward to having them back. And now that we have, clubhouses across the UK, it's like properly giving those customers in the community there the experiences that Irish people would have been used to had you come to, one of our events. So it feels like, properly getting the full story and the full team back going again. And yeah, that's the focus. The focus is the UK market in the kind of short to medium term. Australia and the US are going really well for us at the moment from a ecom point of view, but it's the UK that's really, it feels like the brand is kind of really getting up onto its feet there, the way it is in Ireland. Lots and lots of work to do, but as soon as kind of all the proper restrictions are eased, we would have been over there so much more. Our team would have been on the ground so much more, and we're hiring people now in the UK properly onto the team, so that would be great. But we still want that interaction between, the kind of head office team and those people, so that they have a full immersion in the brand, So yeah, it's big things next year, and hopefully we'll continue to be able to spread clubhouses to new locations. And if Australia opens their borders, I'll be the first down there to visit my family and all that kind of stuff. So we're keen to get down there.
I know. Well, look, I'm fascinated. I swear to God, I can't stop watching. I don't know why. I feel like I can't stop watching your brand grow, and because everyone's talking about it. So if people aren't following, where can they start to follow now? Where is Gym+Coffee? I'm talking about like socially. What's the handles and where can they find you guys?
At Gym+Coffee on all social media, so you should find us. If you're into TikTok, I would recommend getting on there. That's our fastest.
Oh, I don't follow. Oh, really? Oh, I don't follow on TikTok now. Oh, yeah. Another platform to add. Right? Okay, I must check that out. Right.
That's our fastest growing channel at the moment, and it's.
Just tell me about that then before. And this is always my last question about the handles. But so TikTok is the fear in every small business owner's mind that aren't creatives. So tell me how that's happened or what's happening there with TikTok.
Completely team driven on our side. So we've amazing, mostly young women who are very, very passionate about it. They understand it, and we're staying true to the brand. We're doing our own thing, but they fundamentally understand the platform and how it works and how music trends, how videos trend, and all of that kind of stuff. I love TikTok, but if you gave me our TikTok account and said you have to look after it on your own for a week, I would be in trouble.
Yeah.
So
that's okay. You can't do all. Like, there's people made for TikTok, and there's others who just can't even navigate it. But it's about finding the right people on your team, I suppose, to do that.
Yeah. It's an amazing platform. It's I have to say, it's much more interesting than any other platforms that I've been on in the past. It's there's a lot more going on. People are a lot more creative. They're not just trying to present their perfect world. It's literally about your creativity, and that's interesting. I think for brands, interesting for everybody. So it's our fastest growing channel, I think, at the moment, and. In the next couple of weeks, there'll be TikTok shopping. So we're one of 10 brands that were involved in the beta test. So basically, Shopify and TikTok coming together to be able to, so that you can shop in TikTok while you're watching videos.
Amazing! That's going to be like revolutionary for that kind of Oh my God, that's unreal. I need to really find out more about TikTok. I shy away too because I'm not I'm good at talking and storytelling, but it wouldn't be great now at making the creative videos. But I love to watch and consume it. So I'm definitely going to go find you guys on TikTok and start seeing what you're doing.
You'd be surprised what kind of... Instagram is kind of a very consistent experience no matter who you are. But if you go into TikTok, like there'd be this huge section of TikTok golf, TikTok physiotherapy, TikTok beauty. Obviously, it's all your own kind of rabbit hole experience, basically. But last year we put up a lot of content around, during lockdown, if you're running, looking after your hamstrings, looking after your calves, it was how to not get an Achilles injury. And those videos were really, really popular. And it was just this rabbit hole of people that obviously use it for that. Whereas then you can do other stuff, which is much more music led or a bit more just dancey TikTok kind of fun stuff, which is very different again. But it seems to be that there's a different version of TikTok for everybody, which is I think quite interesting.
So I now know who one of my guests are going to be next. I need your TikTok manager, creator person to come on and help educate us. Do you think they would do that sometime in the future?
I think they would, yeah. I think they
would. Okay, that's one of my next podcasts then, and I'm going to reach out to you for that. So I know so many people are afraid of it, but they don't need to be going by what you said. You can have your own place on there doing your own content. So that's exciting to find out more about. So Diarmuid, oh my God, I could talk. There's so much we could talk about, and hopefully someday we'll meet and I'll be in the clubhouse and see you guys. But for now, I just want to, I know you're so busy, my God, with all that going on, and you didn't have to spend time talking to me this morning, but everybody's going to have learned so much and they're all going to be wanting to find out more and go visit you guys in the shops and stuff. So thank you so much, and stay in touch, and hopefully meet you in real life when all this madness is over.
That would be great. Might meet you in Victoria Square sometime.
Dapo or Australia, who knows? Once these borders open, we can all get out and about again. So thank you so much, Diarmuid.
No worries at all. Thanks very much for inviting me on, Caroline.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another week of the Digg podcast. If you missed anything, we've made some show notes for you with all the links and all the good stuff we've talked about today. Remember, if you do listen to an episode, screenshot it and share it on social. Remember to tag me so that I see it and I can reshare on my platform. I love to see everyone tuning in each week. It has been an honour to be your host. I look forward to our next episode.